This is What a Week.
What a week. PoliTricks.
Hey, Ta. Welcome to another episode of WAW What a Week, #PoliTricks, where debates happen on camera, off camera, at the barber shop, go di back room, go di shebining. It's a people's parliament because your voices matter, even when and if we can't hear the voices. Today we're talking Heritage Day. There's an octogenarian back, Malawi. I don't know where it's alang. Maybe but cherry memory high. But we'll find out about that. President Ramaphosa is at the United Nations. The Madlanga Commission is going. Botswana want their diamonds back. In fact, generally. And the Patriotic Alliance are busy making threats. We'll find out if they hold water. Botsang Modimwame Muilwa is in the building. Utshwere coffee in one hand and an incredible mind in here.
Yes, good morning, followers, viewers. Morning fresh.
Oh, grand.
What a weather, what a week, what a politics in the world.
Hey, what a life.
From the UN.
Your mic, I think Are emise mic your house so that we can better hear you.
Is Trevor complaining? Is it perfect now?
Up some more.
Some more.
Lift the mic. What's that hub?
I'm going to be on my face now.
Nah, there it is. Perfect.
Fine. Thank you.
Are we happy with the mic?
Sharp.
We're happy with the mic. Heritage Day.
Yes, sir.
Deputy President, Acting President, Mashatile, talking about decolonizing art, amongst other things.
Yeah.
But we need to decolonize everything. I mean, the very laws that often govern us themselves are very colonial, almost borderline archaic.
Exactly. Great fresh.
So, you know, what's the horse, what's the cart when it comes to decolonizing issues?
So what it is saying is you can't put the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
And you can't want to decolonize our museums and some art stuff when the laws themselves are colonial laws. Our constitution is still based on the 1652 Roman Dutch law and all those things. But what was ironic about the call by the acting president Mashatile, it's because as he was busy giving that address or that speech and calling the nation to show their diversity and all that, some AfriForum group, the leader of AfriForum, was actually, that's one of the things that happened, and that's what caught my attention, that who is acting president talking to? She's not talking to us as a nation, because AfriForum was unveiling a statue of Paul Kruger. They had the same replica, same statue that is resembling the one that is still sitting and overseeing people of Tswane in the middle of Church Square.
Yes.
And fresh, I just thought it was a slap on the face of South Africans and a slap on the speech of the deputy president, because all this happened at a national key point, at the Mutharika monument, outside Mutharika monument, and they said that statue is going to go to all 9 provinces. Then after, it's going to find its home at Orania, which I call a country on its own, or the region is a country on its own. I mean, what does it say to us as a nation? You go and you reveal the statue of Paul Kruger at a national key point, which is part of the museum for it's a state-owned place, and the state has also what we call it South African Heritage Agency. It's an agency of the state, which then regulates such, in public spaces. But if they're going to put it at Orania, and we gave Orania to say it's a country, because we allowed it as a nation. That's where we allowed it. Imagine if other people in other areas of other cultures can just proclaim a place, close it up, and say this is an independent country, own anthem, own ways, and you are not allowed for other people to come and live here. And the country is allowing such things while we are talking about diversity. But that's not all. Even in this week, the Mpumalanga provincial government passed a debate, a bill that they want to rename. Every year there's a talk about renaming the Kruger International Park. And there's the National Kruger Park, whatever it's called. And it has passed that bill. The Democratic Alliance were the first to jump to say, but the provincial government has no right over renaming a national park because it's not a provincial park. It does not fall under provincial authorities. It falls under national authorities. But for me, that's not the debate.
Sure.
And people may argue that, but the history is part of history. Even the Paul Krugers and all this, they are part of our history.
No, but for instance, even the Paul Kruger statue, Church Square, right?
Yes.
I mean, that was erected as a sign and celebration of Afrikaner nationalism.
Yes.
And often at the heart of it, it was to the exclusion of everyone else. So it was about us, and all y'all are not a part of us.
Yeah.
So for a lot of people, as much as he might not be an apartheid architect, he oversaw the country at a time where blacks were invisible, were not seen.
Yes.
So if I feel that for me, it's a symbol of oppression, and that I don't need it in my face, let it not be in a public square, but rather at the museum, so that those that want to see it can visit the museum.
Absolutely.
The way other countries have done, where symbols that might be divisive, they're not totally gotten rid of.
Yes.
They might have a memorial park for such symbols, but at least you know where to go if you want to see them. But for it to be in my face, I believe, is almost saying, we don't care how you feel about it, or that your past hurts, or the fact that your grandfather was taken off land by the very same government who the statue represents, is to say, we don't care how you feel.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, I think we've enabled a lot of this behavior by allowing it to happen. We've enabled a lot of this disrespect, this disregard for what your pain is. The fact that people can still hoist the old flag at rugby matches.
Yeah.
Now for me says, maybe we're not doing enough to say you will bear the consequences if you do that. Because it's a symbol of pain and hatred for a lot of people. We've enabled it. So let's get a makala when they do it. We gave people rope and said, here, you're cowboys.
Yeah.
Now that they've been cowboy,
That's
complain.
what we gave the rope them for.
It's like Day of Reconciliation. Who are we reconciling with?
Exactly.
When it's only us who are saying, are reconciling.
Yeah. We only reconcile when it suits them. And I've said it before. Reconciliation comes from both sides.
We must both want to...
must want to be in the same. But now, here we are being forced. People are being forced to reconcile. You know, even the Heritage Day, again, I think us being silent and not teaching our kids and not telling the truth, it's also a problem.
We're complicit.
Because it will create more problems in future.
We are complicit in what is happening because, one, history is not compulsory.
Yes.
Until we get things right, even at a colonial or anti-colonial level in this country, I believe history must be compulsory. That children must know exactly where this country comes from. I mean, the way they do in America, where in the curriculum of history, they intentionally exclude slavery, and they treat it almost like black people were there working.
Yeah.
They were just workers.
They were just workers, yeah.
It's intentional because they're trying to whitewash our history as black people in the US. So if we're not intentional in saying, this is our history, and every child will learn about our history.
Earlier in the week, on the radio, when I was talking to in your absence to the colleagues, I was saying to them, even us not telling our own history to our own kids, and I made 2 examples.
Yes.
That Heritage Day was actually never a holiday in South Africa. How it came about late in 1995 when the Inkatha Freedom Party launched a protest to recognize it, because that was used to be known as Shaka Day, and it was never a holiday. It was observed in KZN at that time to as a remembrance of the late King Shaka. But I also made an example that, you know, my mom doesn't like when I do that. You know the Siaparangwe, Sisianamarena, Kuboya Sotho. The Sotho blanket.
We never had blankets.
We never had blankets.
We never had blankets.
And whenever I tell people that actually Queen Elizabeth imposed that on Basotho in colonizing Lesotho, Understand? There's actually even one of those blankets which is like peach and blue. It's a nice bright color. They actually even named that one Queen Elizabeth because they've got different names.
Yes.
And it is her in visiting Lesotho and taking the kingdom of Lesotho, who, because it's very cold to be there,
Yes.
and started to, now Basotho are being seen as Kikoboya Sotho. And there's nothing like that. And I was saying to people again,
Literally blue,
blue.
that Botswana way.
Yeah.
In the bigger scheme of things, we never wore a dichale. If anything, you wore pate, or a cowhide.
Yes.
And it's all good that we have these symbols of who we are right now, but we must not also get it twisted.
Yeah,
That's not who we are.
Because it's all twisted, this whole thing. And I said to them again on heritage, they say we must show our culture and traditions. Imagine Botswana in the middle of Tswane, ke apere mongato, understand?
A loincloth, yes.
And I'll be arrested actually for public indecency. And when are we on our heritage cultural side and when are we not? We must change the history. We must not the history. We must change the laws of the country to can address those issues. And again, I also not one person not in favor of naming places against people. In 20 years' time, there'll probably be a completely new political parties here. And then what will they be doing? They'll be renaming the streets we are naming after the liberation heroes. People say, hey, we don't know who are those ones.
Yes. Or someone is gonna turn around and say, why are you naming a street after a person that 30 years in power did nothing to truly liberate the people?
Yes.
And obviously I don't agree with that. But nothing stops someone in 30 years coming into power and saying, yeah, these comrades, they sold us out. So let's remove that name from the street.
Yeah.
Because that's a slippery slope that you start climbing when you start hero worshiping politicians.
So for me, this is a made up, a camouflaged, heritage and diverse. Yes, we've got diverse cultures, but to try and say we'll end up in one pot and live one as a nation. America has been claiming to be liberated for over a century now, but the situation, you can see the color line, you can see the practices, we can see everything that's happening. It's because it was started on the wrong foot. The base was wrong, and that's where they are. And I think we are heading the same direction as a nation.
And I lament this every single year when Heritage Month comes around, that I'd love to see a situation where September does not look like a costume party.
Yes.
Because this is who we are. We should not have to wait until September. To wear our bright colors, to wear that which makes us remember who we are. That should be daily. We should not be having Mogodu Monday as some sort of way of selling an event, because Mogodu is every day. Mogodu is who we are. Yeah. Rather Pizza Monday.
Yes.
Because we're not Italian.
Because that's not us. We're not Italians.
We're not Italians.
Exactly.
You'll never find Pizza Monday in Italy.
Because they eat pizza every day. Pasta and pizza is there every day.
It's part of who they are. And we are part of the problem because we embrace all of these things that almost treat our culture like Halloween. It's time to get back into costumes, guys. Our children on the Friday, Heritage Day, must come. No, as long as it's CVs, that's what our kids must be wearing.
Exactly, that's what they must be wearing. Yeah.
So we're part of the problem.
We are the problem.
And the reason I say we're part of the problem, I look at even, it might be a contentious issue, that often we go after Afrikaners for how they jealously guard their culture and their language. And now my challenge to us is, let's replicate it with our cultures.
They are doing it for themselves on their own without disturbing anybody. And why don't we do the same? Why don't we guard selfishly our cultures, practices, music, even languages?
I would love to see 10 linguists, Botswana, academics, intellectuals come together and say, okay, guys, how are we going to develop our language such that the day government wake up and start decolonizing education and saying we need science textbooks, Sastswana, Sasizulu, Sasixhosa, that it's done.
It's ready.
That it's ready. The fact that we're struggling even with naming diseases that people suffer from in order to educate them about the diseases, because we still don't have those words. We have not developed the vocabulary. And whose fault is that? It's our fault. It's our fault. I'd love my kids to go to a university of Botswana where you learn everything
Everything
Botswana.
Botswana.
I would love that. But instead, we'd rather berate Afrikaners for doing that versus what can we learn from them and we do it the same. But we don't do it as a form of excluding others, like some of them are doing.
The problem for me politically is exclusion.
That if there's an Afrikaner kid in the Northwest, or Botswana, that would like to further the Setswana education, that they're welcome to do it.
Welcome to you. The problem is the exclusion with the Afrikaners, their culture, and I mean, look at the story of Oranje as an example. They've got a new university in Tswane now, and Africans, a technical university, and they're very clear about who should be coming there. It's not, they don't even say you must embrace the culture. They're claiming that actually you must be part of that. You must have the lineage to study in that university. You must be of Christian, person, not any other religion. So even if I could speak Afrikaans or I loved Afrikaans and I want to study in Afrikaans, but because
there's still an apartheid.
And I'm not a Christian, then there's an apartheid of exclusion. But my brother, it's some of the challenges the continent will be faced with in the world.
We're half the problem. I think the day we wake up and realize that no one's coming to save us, no one's coming to save our languages, no one is coming to save our culture. Man. Anyway, where do you want to go next? Let's go to the United Nations.
Oh, yes.
President Ramaphosa, I feel, was not firm enough in dealing with the issues at hand, but maybe you saw it differently.
I also felt like, and I'll tell you, I'll explain why. I also felt like President Ramaphosa was more soft. The United Nations was not like visiting President Trump. It's a world body.
Right now, already at the UN. There's no boss there.
And the advantage is that the General Assembly, which we had already secured three things. We had already secured a court order last year, an International Court of Justice against the Israelis and the genocide in Palestine. We had already secured the committee of the United Nations General Assembly, a special committee on genocide, a week before the National Assembly said they came out with a report that says South Africa was correct, the court was correct, there is genocide that's happening in Gaza. And we have already secured over 142 countries that were on our side or on the side of Palestine inside that assembly. So we're in a much stronger position to can say, not to the Americans, not to the General Assembly, to say, guys, thanks for your support. We agree with you. What is our next step from here? With these three tools that we have, what can we do? South Africa should have led that engagement. Last week on the podcast, I said, one of the examples is to say to the UN, let's have men in blue and boots, blue in the UN peacekeepers. They wear blue. So let them be there physically on the ground. Let all member states contribute, and we have people there to save life, not to fight Israel, to protect the Palestinians, to save life. But something came out after. When I looked at the president addressing the UN Assembly to say, why is nobody, particularly us, South Africa, not tabling a motion to put trade and economic or whatever embargo against Israel? Sanctions. Why are we not tabling that?
Even a cultural boycott.
Yes.
A cultural boycott, and unless we isolate bullies, the bullies will continue doing as they please. And I think, again, it goes back to the world has watched Israel do as they please and give the UN a middle finger for the last 8 years. You've enabled them. If you turn a child into a brat, you can't turn around tomorrow and say this child is a brat.
But first, look at the modern 150, 160 countries are sitting in the UN. They are discussing a murderer, a genocider, who is in the house, and they still allow those people to participate. They still allow them to have the Israel ambassador to the UN, to address the UN. Why wouldn't they do what to Israel, what they did to the apartheid South Africa? Completely isolated. It was economic, it was trade, it was political, diplomatic in some instances, as well as cultural. Sports, we couldn't participate. Why is the world not doing that to Israel? Then I will start taking them serious, because that's a soft part they can start to. All those countries that says there must be a two-state, or they are now recognizing Palestine. Why can't they say, until Israel, you recognize Palestine as an independent state, we are not going to allow your embassies in our countries. We start there. We are not going to trade with you. We are not going to buy your goods. and we are isolated. We don't want your sportsmen and women to be participating in our country. Each country can start there.
Yes.
Understand? Each country can start there, whether it's football, whether it's music or what, start somewhere.
Now, for me, all it shows, and I remember I had this conversation with Mr. Gardner. Mr. Gardner was a history teacher in Matric, 1990. And I remember asking Mr. Gardner, why is it that it seems like whenever superpowers do as they please, the United Nations just barks but does nothing? And does he think things will ever change? And he alluded to the fact that that is the way of the world, basically.
Yeah.
This was
into that.
This was Mr. Gardner back in 1990. And I look at where things are going, because now at that stage, I realize that we're wasting time if we have a body that allows X amount of people to have a veto power.
Yeah.
Because we can propose all we want. We can propose all we want, but there's still these special children in our group that are more special than we are. So is it truly a democratic gathering if you have a special bunch
and
that
who
can
chose
decide?
themselves and who also chose who are going to be part of us? That's what I'm saying. Individual countries, forget the UN, it's a toothless dog. Individual countries, if they mean business, they can impose sanctions on the apartheid Israel one by one.
Sure.
The same countries that are voting in support of South Africa, they can do that. Why are they not doing that? Why are we as South Africa not starting and say,
sure,
we are not reducing the size of Israel people in here. We are actually completely removing them. Understand, out of this place. So that's some of the challenge that we are sitting with.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm loving, though? I'm loving how, there's this flotilla of ships that are taking aid to Gaza. And they've been sporadically attacked with drones.
With drones, yes, I read that.
By the IDF. What happened yesterday was Italy sent a warship to start escorting them. Escorting them and give them some sort of protection. In fact, I think it's Italy and Spain that have each sent Navy ships.
That's good.
To escort this flotilla. Now let's see if these warmongers will attack these warships, because then you're declaring war on these two countries.
On these two other countries. Yes, and look, those people are civilians. Most are doctors.
Yeah.
And they are there to go and protect, to go and save lives and to transport medicines and all that. I also said I want to see this weekend what they're not even calling them. I listened to another lady, Dr. Irman. She's one of them. I listened to an interview. She was like, we don't even call them Israel Defense Force because they are not defending anything. They call them Israel Genocide Force. And we'll see. I also was looking at that and said, I want to see how is Israel going to behave with the other countries saying, but you are not going to touch those ships.
No, but in typical Israel fashion, they're already playing victim about it. And saying that then the flotilla is also Hamas.
Yes, they may be keeping Hamas in there, but in the French, I think we didn't do much. On the secondary part, on the second day, then President Ramaphosa was addressing with regard to the global trade and all that. And another thing that disturbed me, Trump is there. Everybody's there, as I said, they're equal. Trump goes and says this thing of global warming, it's just nonsense. By the way, they're even withdrawing. The Americans are withdrawing from the Paris deal.
The Paris Accord. But Trump was very clear about this 10 years ago already.
Yeah, he has actually been consistent.
Yes.
I laughed when he made an example. Sometimes because of his conduct, we fail to listen to when he tells the truth. He made one example and saying, this accord, when it was done, it was during Barack Obama's time. Obviously, he had to pick up Obama. And he said, Obama goes and signs this thing. Yet he takes the biggest jumbo jet, a Boeing 747, and he moves from Washington to Hawaii to play a round of golf. And he comes back. How much fuel he has spent, how much global, pollution he has caused. And this is the person who's talking about these things. But
that does not mean global warming does not exist.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. When he's Trump talking,
it's
just being personal.
Yes.
And he will talk about one thing, but there's more to the world.
Yes, that double standards,
yes.
But it does not make it what did you call it? A hoax?
Yes, it's not. It's not a hoax. It's true. It's only that part. But we look at countries like Germany, who are funding NGOs all over the world, including in South Africa, to can talk against, that we must move to biofuels, we must stop
Yes,
using
fossil
coal,
fuels are bad.
fossil fuels are bad, and all of the same Germany, Tato, they are recommissioning their coal mines that were decommissioned years back. They're reopening them to can extract more coal, to can burn more coal, cause more pollution, and have fuel, but they're telling us not to do it. Again, as you said, it's double standards. The Americans, most of the oil of the world goes to America anyway because of their dominant in taking minerals of other countries, and they're burning these fuels. And our leaders go to the UN instead of defending and protecting the position of their country. We go and we say we will reduce our carbon footprint. When percentages and researchers have found that actually African carbon footprint on global warming and what, it's very, very little, the percentages compared to Europe and the Americas. And I think for President Ramaphosa to also say that some countries are bully, they are using trade tariffs to can punish another country. So why do you say some? There are members here who are using, why do you say some when we know it's who?
Yeah, but academic diplomacy says I must never point to you. I must point next to you.
No. We are in the UN. America is not beating up the bush about it. And they're the only ones doing it anyway. Others are retaliating or responding in defending themselves like China did. But it's America punishing the whole world with trade tariffs.
You know what I found very rich coming from Trump at the UN General Assembly? Him saying to other European countries that you guys encourage all of this migration of people.
Yeah.
You must be like us.
Yeah.
And I guess be like us and be racist in how you allow people in and out. Because I'm sure migrants of other hues are more than welcome in any of these countries.
Yes.
But the reason I find it rich is because the very same countries that destabilize the world, destabilize governments, overthrow governments, are responsible for regime change, are the same ones who are now complaining that there are too many brown people here.
Flocking into their territory.
If you did not stabilize a Libya, you would not have all these brown people risking life and limb trying to cross the Mediterranean.
Exactly.
If you did not destabilize half of the countries that are not stable right now, you would not have a migrant problem.
People are
You can't bomb my house and then complain that, oh wow, they're running here now. I don't have a house. You bombed it.
You bombed it, or you are part of the people who took a decision to bomb it.
And then you want to turn around and talk about when you're about peace. You're about peace. You're busy bombing boats coming from South America saying they're carrying drugs, but you're not willing to say, here is the intel that said that ship with 7 people that we've bombed and murdered
Was carrying drugs.
You can't just do things with impunity and think it's okay.
But I think
And then turn around and say, when I'm about peace.
So I think the Europeans deserve the medicine that Trump is giving them, because when you look at history as well, it is them. America may do the bombing, they do the funding, they do the support of the vetoes. They put their money and everything else, and forgetting that they're the closest to the Arab world and to Africa. What should the people do? You used an example of Libya. If they were not part of the resolution 152 to bomb Libya,
which we were also a part of.
Yeah, we will not be. Well, we're still a colony of the British. What British do, we will always do it. But we will not be where we are with the Libyan account that was self-sufficient, self-sustainable. Libyans did not need the world in order to live well. And now you have created a war, that you have destroyed the country, and you expect those people to sit in the same way we are doing in Palestine at the moment as the world.
And remember, we even had a discussion about it, that there are a lot of members of parliament in the UK complaining about the brownification of their country.
Yes.
Had you not raped and pillaged half of the planet?
Exactly.
Those are the children and the great-grandchildren of the people that you plundered.
The colonizers, exactly.
So you're going to complain that Britain is becoming brownified.
But that's the challenge. I mean, they had a prime minister of Indian descent. You understand? Just because he studied there, he got brainwashed there, and they accepted. So they must check out your brain and put it there. You will do as we want, and only after that. If you are not doing that, you still want to remain yourself and be an Asian or an African, then you are not welcome. But Europe deserve what is happening to them. They deserve it. It is not a negative. Europe created these problems.
Yes.
And from all continents, they went everywhere and created these problems.
Your chickens are coming home to roost.
Yes. And now, I mean, I still remember when problems years back started in Turkey. Most of the low-income earners or blue-collar workers in Germany were Turkish. First, let me tell you, they took over the country until the Germans started saying these people look like they are becoming moderners because they were giving birth, because they were, having kids and building their lives in Germany. Then they started dominating the population. And then Germany started really looking at their immigration law to say there are too many Turks here. But when they wanted to use them for cheap labor, they didn't see that.
Yes.
And the same is happening in the Middle East as well. You know, these countries that are going up, they are building the glitz and glamour of the Dubais with cheap labor from Africa and Asia.
Sure. Let's come back home.
Yes, sir.
The Patriotic Alliance, Gayton McKenzie, president of Patriotic Alliance, released a video basically threatening the ANC that if Kenny Kunene is not reinstated as MMC for transport in Johannesburg, since Dada is blue-ticking him, that they're going to pull out of any alliance they have with the ANC. What are your thoughts on this threat?
You know what was what's always my worry with Mr. McKenzie? Did you try the official channel first before you go on social media? I was just concerned that
has there been a conversation?
Has there been a conversation
that failed?
That has failed. Then I would understand, but I don't see anything where they say we wrote and we gave a report back. Remember, if we may take the viewers a little bit back, this came as a result of them, Patriotic Alliance, suspending Mr. Kunene while he was under investigation.
And you stepped down. Why must we reinstate you? You stepped down, Mus.
No. But remember what they said at that time, that he is stepping down while the investigations are pending the outcome of the investigation.
But we're investigating ourselves. So I believe the outcome was almost a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, if you hire a law firm to investigate yourself, and you pay them and they will do what you want. I'm not running anything into conclusion, but I'm saying unlikely that the one you pay will act against. It's very unlikely.
I've never seen a pharmaceutical come out and say, we hired researchers and the researchers say our medicine is bad for you.
Yeah.
I've never seen once the IDF say, the Israeli government say, no, we investigated the IDF and you are right, they are murderers.
They are murderers, yes. They will tell you they are defending the country and themselves against Hamas. But that's where the challenge is with what happened with Mr. Kunene. I've heard that actually the problem is with the mayor because Gayton went to an extent of even engaging the Secretary General of the ANC, Vicky Lembalula.
Sure.
So if they've gone to that extent, and I think it's not fair, but again, this is the problem with coalitions that are not formal.
Yes.
Remember, the GNU is a gentleman's agreement. There is no legal standing in that document. What do they call it?
The memorandum
of intention and all that. There's no legal standing. It's gents, how shall we work? Now, if one of you doesn't want to work anymore, but the bigger part of it is when he says he's not going to collapse Joburg only. He will withdraw from all positions, including himself as the Minister of Sports. And you know what South Africans will say? Mabahambe.
The irony is I haven't heard or seen one person or one post on social media saying, please don't take your handful of votes.
Yeah.
And I like the threat that we'll even work with the DA if we need to.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's another part where he actually said, we will go and work with the DA. He was very clear. Remember, Patriotic Alliance has issues with EFF, very serious issues. They will have issues with controversies. But with the DA, they've worked together before, and the DA didn't want to welcome them in the GNU. but eventually they found each other. And I think he will be doing this in order to spite the ANC. And it may unsettle quite a number of local government, municipalities where there's a coalition. It may rattle the national government as well. Because he's one of the ministers. And I said, so that one, it's easy. The president can replace him with a candidate of any other party. That's an easy one. But it's going to destabilize the government or the governing in the country.
I was going to say, that video, the threat, do you think it was a chess move or political suicide for the party and himself?
Look, first, if it happens, it may throw them out. It may, one thing to other people, it may say, they are doing good, they stand by their weight. It may say that. It may appeal to other people to say, oh, this man is not greedy, he's not sitting there for blue light, he's prepared to forgo them. However, looking at a big broader picture, it may dent the Patriotic Alliance. Sometimes when you are in a battlefield or in a boxing ring, you don't just go hitting with fists without checking if this person has guts or not. You must be very strategic in doing that. I don't also think President Ramaphosa is going to allow them to then destabilize Joburg and Dadamorero and everywhere else where the DA will overtake or they will take over with it. I think he's going to just give an instruction to Dadamorero or to Panyaza Lusufi, the Premier of Gauteng, and say, can you tell Dadamorero to... we have an agreement with these people, the seat belongs to them. But I also don't think if Dada is truly refusing, he's playing a good game, especially towards local government elections. Remember that there were never complaints about the performance of Kenny Kunene as the MMC of transport. There was never a complaint. I've never come across a complaint that he's not performing well or he was liked by his staff members.
Even as acting mayor, he was very active.
He was very active. Yeah. So why would you want to keep this person outside amid allocation? If people are going to say, but we don't know the outcome in the report of the allocation, it's an internal. We never know the outcome in the report of the ANC allocation against their own members when their committee investigates them.
The integrity committee. Yeah.
We always hear that the integrity committee has cleared them. We never get the substance of what they are clearing them for and how did they arrive at that. And I think the integrity committee of the ANC was also, and with the step aside rule, I think they were formed only to deal with some comrades of the previously called RET forces or the Zuma factions. It was created to deal with them, get them out of the space, and then we can move forward. Because since after the Ace Mahashule's era, what has ever happened? Nothing. It was getting rid of those that they were a threat to the Ramaphosa faction. But the advantage with the parties, small parties like Patriotic Alliance, is that they don't have factions like these big parties. There's no, they're sticking together, and it's an advantage for them.
Sure. Yeah. Now, looking at the mayorship race, because obviously the party has cleared Kenny, he's in the clear now.
Yes.
He can go back to work. But his name has also been put forward as running for mayor of Johannesburg.
Yes.
For the PA, Helen Zilla's hand is in... her name is in the hat for the DA. The ANC say we're not in a hurry.
Yeah.
Where do you think this mayorship race is going?
Look, but it's too early to tell.
Yeah.
It's very too early to tell. If this is going to go on like this and the PA moves out of the GNU, I see them throwing their weight behind Helen Zille to be the mayor next year. I'm saying if it happens, I think it may be a strategy to go that route. Let's push the ANC completely out. But I wonder if they will have those numbers. Understand? They will still have to look for other partners.
Sure.
But what the DA is going to strive for is to be the leading party in the city of Joburg. And I'm saying with Helen Zille, most unlikely. Very unlikely. I don't think they will have the majority of the numbers in the city of Joburg.
Do you think the ANC will reach a point where they get sick and tired of petulant partners? I'll explain. The DA like throwing their toys in public. The Patriotic Alliance just did the same right now. Why Babanglenga so much? Or is it because they need them that much in the GNU?
They do. Even in local government, they need them a lot, Fresh. They need a DA in the GNU because they've got the numbers. The DA has a whole lot of percentage. But the small ones, you need them to be, pawns you can use and play around with.
Yeah, to be kingmakers.
Yes. Look, without the Patriotic Alliance, there's not much difference. The Unga Freedom Party has more numbers and they are more stable and more peaceful. But you also want to become strategic to check where does the PA can mess you up. You understand? It may not only be in Joburg.
It's bigger than Kenny.
It's bigger than Kenny Kunene. There's more to this whole thing. And I think the ANC is treating very carefully in order not to upset anybody. At the moment, I think they're realizing they should have formed a minority government because now these little kids are toying with them. And if you look at it, it's only these two actually. It's the DA and the PA that always threaten them. The others are having a lullaby in the corners. It's like they're not existing. Like the PAC, when last did a PAC leader working or doing any work of government? And they're focusing on their work. They're not focusing on politics yet. So, and again, people were saying the threat is actually SA standing there outside. Herman Mashaba has bought a green suit. He's waiting for gating to leave so that he can enter. Yeah. I don't think so. I think the Action SA, they are going to focus on solidifying themselves on the ground.
Sure.
Local government elections are very close. I mean, 2026 is very close. So parties will have to focus on stabilizing themselves and winning the votes and the confidence of the people.
Sure.
Than to be infighting between Dada and Kunene and who. These guys, they're old, man. The council is troubled.
Yeah.
They need Minister of Roads or MMC of Roads because they are hosting the G20 in the next 2-3 months. Understand? So how are they going to deliver on their promises if they are still fighting that don't come to work, who must come to work? Why would they do that? Remember, there's still a pending case as well of the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, the DA post. Remember, it's still not filled.
Yes.
Let Ramaphosa fired there. So there's still challenges that the government of national unity, holding on. But we'll see towards local government elections. I have predicted that it will break apart or collapse due to local government elections when the heat starts being on.
Let's move to the Madlanga Commission.
Yes, sir.
It's wrapping up, its second week?
Yes.
And I'm told that there is now a new witness list, including President Ramaphosa, because Masemola told the commission that he told President Ramaphosa about Mchunu wanting to disband the political killings task team, meaning then President Ramaphosa must also come in account. There's a lot happening this week.
I don't know why he's blue ticking them. He also said he was blue ticked by the president. And I don't know why, because the president appoints the commissioner. Why would you blue tick your subordinate? However, this call for this new list, it's actually drafted by the ad hoc committee in Parliament. The Madlanga is their list of line-up people for next week. Yesterday it was Fenter is a legal expert from SAPS to come and talk about how things are supposed to work. And the little I've heard and understood is actually corroborating what the national commissioner Masemola had said, how things are supposed to work. He's corroborating from a legal point of view. And also now the ad hoc committee of Parliament said they've now included, it's 11 people, they've now included President Ramaphosa. Some are saying, but I've heard Breitenbach of the DA saying, well, if what Masemola said about President Ramaphosa is true and President Ramaphosa is not denying, then we don't need him to come here, because it's, did you blue took them? You said nothing. Why did you say that? Issue a statement. But, Fresh, I also think the Mdlanga Commission has actually weakened, if not created a what do you call it, a platform where the ad hoc committee will not perform to its measure, because the news are already there in the eyes of the people. The news are out there.
Yes.
What is it that we as a nation want to hear from, for example, Mkhwanazi in the ad hoc committee in Parliament that we did not hear? Are we just going to repeat what he said? Because if you are under oath and you say something there and on the other platform you say something different, And then there's a challenge already
Yes.
there.
Yes.
So is he going to go there, submit the same statement, repeat what he said? Are those MPs going to ask them the same questions they were asked, or is it going to be different? It's a wait-and-see situation. But in the coming week, he will be in Parliament to the ad hoc committee, Mkwanazi, as the first witness.
Yes.
And while the Mdlanga Commission will continue with their other witnesses, I think the other witnesses that are coming to Mdlanga now, we are going to see a shift from the allegers or the officials to those that they pointed fingers on to come and respond to the allegation. I think we are going to start seeing the BECLS, the Fikile Mbalulas being called to the Mdlanga Commission, eventually Mdlanga himself. He could be the first one they call. But we are going to see all these people who fingers have been pointed at to come and defend themselves or explain themselves. Because sometimes you don't have to defend.
Sure.
You must just go there to explain yourself. Hey, why was I Fresh's house? Or what were we talking, me and Fresh, over the phone 100 times? You go to explain yourself and the commission will decide after.
The other day on the radio, on Monday, you spoke about how South Africa owes journalist Mziwa Afrika and advocate Maliselati for apologies.
Yes.
Why is that?
Okay, let me remind the followers and the viewers what happened years back with Mdlanga Afrika when he was still at the Sunday Times. When he made these allegations about rogue, corrupt police in cahoots with drug traffickers and drug dealers and criminals. Actually, the police. And he even mentioned some politicians. And I vividly recall at that time, it was when he went to publish his book, actually, Nothing Left to Steal. The police commissioner at that time was Mr. Cele. Now, these things that are coming out of the commission now, some of us, we read them in his book, and we read them in newspapers years ago, and we just thought he's a rogue journalist. He's a journalist. People will say he's a hearsay journalist. And you understand? And he always backed up his stories. He had good informers.
Yes.
He always backed them up. I mean, we will recall first that at some stage he was even kidnapped, into some farm or bushes in Mpumalanga.
Yeah.
And he was told to stop writing about these stories. And he was arrested in front of cameras at the Sunday Times offices, reporting for duty for writing those stories. And I think as a nation, when our journalists are writing proper and genuine and true stories, not taking political sides or siding with political parties, we need to respect that. And we need to acknowledge them. And for that, I think we as a nation, after these revelations coming out now, we owe Mdlanga Afrika, an apology. But as recent as last year, when advocate Maliselati came with such allegations, he linked it to the killing of what we call it, Senze Meiwa's case. Remember, advocate therefore was a policeman.
Yes.
He knew about everything that was said in that commission, fair and honest. He mentioned them. He mentioned the trucks taking cargo from Durban port to Boysen's police station. Then this policeman is stealing from this other policeman, or they are fighting with each other for the drugs. And when therefore said that, we said this one doesn't take, it's not normal. What kind of a lawyer conducts himself like this? But we had forgotten that he was a police person.
Yes.
So he had, for almost 20 years, he had access to some of this information. He still has former colleagues and contacts in the police service. Now the things that advocate therefore had said to newspapers, to podcasts, to television are coming out as testimony, backed by evidence. Names are being mentioned. And I think we owe that person. I mean, they eat just like Mdlanga. They even arrested him without charges and trial and locked him up. He came out of prison poisoned. And the nation is quiet. Now we want to believe others because they are said in a manner and fashion that we like. Understand? We like Mkwanazi because of the way he broke this news. We like him because he comes with a suit and tie and present this whole thing and give evidence. But when other people said it differently, we didn't take them serious. You see the danger of it.
Yeah.
It's this. If we'd have listened to Mdlanga for earlier and the police would have done their job, probably some of these things would have been stopped. Probably when Mdlanga for many years wrote about civil servants being killed and threatened for doing their job,
Yeah.
would have saved the lives of people like Babita Jokoran. When the government would have acted, you know, say, when the police directors complained to Mkhwanazi, and the president should have listened to Mkhwanazi as well as even parliament as well as Masemola. If they would have listened, some lives would have been saved by now.
Yes.
Because they would have acted. We are acting now after losing lives of civil servants, ordinary people, and now look at the whole web. It's pointing where? To the head of state. Not to say he's a criminal or he's alleged to be. To say, but the head of state was aware of this situation.
Sure.
There's no way he cannot be aware when the intelligence is sitting in the presidency. So being complicit to some of the decisions, and that's why I always say, being a decisive leader is very important. If President Ramaphosa was a decisive leader and make critical decisions timelessly, some of these things would have not happened, or they would have been kept at a very early stage.
Sure. Speaking of decisiveness, earlier this year there were murmurings that Botswana wanted more than just 15% of her own diamonds in that deal with De Beers. And this week, President Boko is trending because he did several interviews alluding to the fact that by the end of October, we expect to have a controlling stake in De Beers because those are our diamonds. In fact, it already stinks to high hell that 15% was even seen as a fair offer.
Imagine.
For your own minerals.
For me, what stings more is even the negotiations that are happening now that
Yes.
Botswana must buy.
Or buy us out.
They must buy DPS out. Remember the company, the holding company, it's Anglo-American,
Yes.
the mining company. So apparently there's challenges with DPS and Anglo-American as the holding company. And the best thing to do is for Botswana to say, we'll buy our over 50% or 15 plus, then they want to be over. I think it's, look, I'm not happy that Botswana will be paying for the stake. I wish we could expropriate, those mines. They belong to Botswana.
Yes.
But the fact that they are looking forward for the government to be the investor, the biggest stakeholder, it's a move in a positive direction. But you know what is my only worry? Diamonds in the world, and I've read a few articles about why De Beers is considering to sell. Apparently, diamonds in the world fresh are not losing value, but they are losing sales because of laboratory manufactured diamonds that are more cheaper and people are willing to settle for them because of the cost. So they may have milked or mined that country for many years. Botswana may still be having very good reserves. However, you look at what the reason for them to want to sell is that there's no longer an appetite. If you were buying one piece of diamond for 50,000 pula and somebody can manufacture in a laboratory using chemicals another one of the same look and quality at 20,000 pulas, then that's where the challenge that I think Botswana government must be very careful not to end up with a white elephant. And you know how imperialists work. They may actually go out and destroy the demand from market.
I wouldn't be surprised if they went and made synthetic diamonds themselves.
Exactly.
Just to flood the market.
Just to flood the market.
So that you're stuck with all these gems for nothing.
That is my fear. But it's fine. Let me be stuck with my goods. Let Botswana be stuck with their diamonds. Let them decide. Let them have control over their diamonds, and let them decide what do they want to do with them.
But also let it be, I think, maybe an inspiration to other countries that at some stage you need to stand up and say enough is enough.
You need to draw the line. Yeah.
You need to draw the line where you look at your people and you say we have all these minerals, but we still have people in poverty.
Yeah.
And all we're getting for all that our land is worth is 15%.
Yes. Yes. That's what I'm saying. I'm very proud of them. I think in the right direction. Let other countries learn. We are neighbors here. We've got all minerals that we are working on minerals, whether it's platinum, gold, diamonds, and it's not being plugged back into us.
You know what half the problem is? Half the problem is there's never been unity on this continent. And I think unity and unionization are done for a reason. Unionization is so that we have a single voice saying this is now the status quo.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, because Africa has never been united in her approach, and because some leaders have a price, as long as you pay me the right amount of money, I will sing your tune. So Botswana might stand up and seem rogue in her demands, but other countries might continue undercutting and coming in and saying, don't worry, boss, we will do this. We will dance to the tune you want to play.
Keep them divided.
Yes. So,
select a few that you can bribe or give money.
yes.
And those that you can't bribe, and if they are becoming hardliners, eliminate them, remove them from the society.
We'll destabilize the
or
thing.
destabilize the
Yes.
country. And look what they've done to Angola. Look what they're doing to the DRC. And all of them, they do it as a united force.
Yeah.
Well, what is happening in the DRC is not only France, Belgium, and the US. Everybody else from Europe and some Asian countries are involved. So it's to destabilize the country, and people will focus on hunger and running for safety
Yes.
than safeguarding their natural God-given minerals. And that's what they do. I mean, they've done it in Latin America as well.
And that's precisely the problem with our leaders right now. They're not unified enough to say what is in the best interest of our people versus how can I eat now that someone else is not eating.
The question is, are they our leaders? We probably think because we have voted them into power, they are our leaders. Probably they're not representing the interests of the African people. And the challenge always also becomes with us. I don't know what drives us to elect a person, and we still wait for another elections to think that person will do things better,
Sure.
given another chance as President Ramaphosa, as the people to say, please give ANC 5 more years. Later on, things will be fine. Now, look at what Malawians did this week.
I was going to say, I mean, Mutharika is 85.
Yes.
He's a former president. Chakwera he literally conceded and said, okay, you win.
Yes.
Based on projections and votes counted so far. And it's a landslide victory.
It's a landslide. Yeah, the last time I checked, it was 33-57.
So what I'm wondering is this. What is it about Chakwera that the youth of Malawi are saying, actually, we prefer the previous devil to the current devil? Because there's a saying, better the devil you know. So what is it that had Mutharika voted out 5 years ago that you're saying, no, actually, we miss Mutharika? I'm very confused.
The same reasons we have in South Africa. When President Zuma left, actually South Africans from all colors, they were like, Zuma must go. And then they will bring a wealthy billionaire who will not steal and who has run successful business, and he will run the country better. We are officially in the worst state since the dawn of democracy under the leadership of a businessman.
Yeah.
We are in the worst state, everything, employment, education, and like I said, the same situation in Malawi. I think the youth, remember this outgoing president, Chakwera, was there only for 5 years. The situation, unemployment amongst youth, youth development, the economy, everything went worse in the last 5 years. And that's why they are saying, he found the country at performing at, making an example, 50%. He left the country performing at 35%. Let's bring back Mr. 50%, not because he was good, but let's bring him back because this one wasn't the situation. That other one was a little bit better. As you said, he was a better devil. Let's bring the better devil up. But the concerning thing is, it is the youth who are in majority as well there on the voting electorate. It is the youth who are going for an 85-year-old, an octogenarian. Why? Why would our youth want to be led by that person? What happened to the 50-something-year-olds and the 60-something-year-olds? I don't understand what drives the youth. How come again, it's political parties. Maybe
I was going to
the
say,
party is too big.
maybe I was going to say, maybe it's a party
Yes.
problem that of the two parties that we have, obviously, clearly they don't have a succession plan, or they're led by people who are hell-bent on staying in power until they die.
Yeah.
And until that happens, the firebrands, the 30, 40, 50-year-olds, that would possibly be better leaders, must just wait that 10.
They might just wait their turn. But by the time their turn comes, they'll be old as well.
Exactly.
So if I failed to take a political position when I was an activist in my 30s, why would I go on to start now to campaign for 2029 when I'll be working towards 60 in that time? And I think there's this party politics that were created. That's another thing. We must remember, these parties were created by the former colonizers. They
Yes.
started as liberation movements. Now, when freedom was handed over to them, especially in countries where freedom was handed over and the colonizers are still dominating and directing you, then they started funding
Yes.
these political parties. They're owning them. Understand? The Ruperts and the Oppenheimers of this world and the Rothschilds, they're funding these political parties. And they will tell them, don't bring firebrands here, because it will be a problem if you bring fire. We will stop giving you money.
Yes. Don't shake the cat.
Yeah, don't check it. The little you are getting, just keep quiet. You are okay. And let the peasants suffer. It's not your problem. You and your family are well off. Until we moved away from this institutionalized democracy that is forced into the throats of the people, I do not think Africa will get it right. I don't think so. These institutions were imposed on us by the former colonial masters, and we accepted them thinking they are working. Why they are not doing them in their own countries?
Yeah.
Look at the number of political parties and independent candidates in the Western countries like Germany, France itself, Spain. Look at the number of individuals who can contest elections, and also look at the power, the power that even small parties have in the Western countries. You know, the parties, look at the senators and governors in the US. You know, you have independent senators. You remember when Arnold Schwarzenegger
Yes.
became an independent
The governor.
a governor. Look at the power he possessed. If we don't, why don't we have such system? Why do we have a system that the British told us this is the best? Take it, and the Americans wrote us a constitution, and we thought it's the best. Look, you know, I'm not pro-democracy. It's okay. It's for me, it's a foreign thing. Give me a dictator anytime who will do things for the people.
Yeah.
Then I'm fine with that. Because we have realized democracy is not working for the people. It's working for some sectors of the people. And I think that's the challenge in Africa. And Malawi has proven us this week. You know, majority voters, youth. You vote an 85-year-old with landslide victory. 85-year-old to rule you for the next 5 years.
One thing I'm happy about, though, is the maturity with which the concession happened.
Yes.
It's reminiscent of what happened with Masisi and Boko.
Yes, and Boko.
That I've lost, I'll pack my bags and I'll go into the sunset.
Yes.
Because we need more of that on this continent. Too often people want to hang on to power.
Yeah.
They want to start insurrections. The military get involved. And I think we're at a point where let's be grown up about these things. If we're going to say democracy is what we want for our country, then let's accept the results of the democracy. If we feel democracy doesn't work, it's a different conversation. And I think, and I think African countries are at a stage where they need to have that conversation. Is democracy working for us?
Yeah, but also for the people of Malawi, the peaceful, votes and elections, and a very peaceful, and like you said, the former president is like, you know what, I'm not even waiting for the country, and I'll move. The margin is too big, and I think we must congratulate them for that. We always condemn them when there's conflicts. And when they do right, let us say you did right. They didn't do right by voting and auto-generating to power, but at least they did it peacefully.
But we must also hopefully get to a point where we don't need to congratulate anyone for doing the right thing.
Fresh, when things have been happening bad and somebody changes, you must say good so that the ones after must say, okay, is this how it's done? Let me move.
But hence I'm saying we need to get to a point where it's normal. You've lost, go home. We're done.
Thank you, my
Incredible show.
Thank you very much.
Where do we find you on social media?
botsangm@gmail.com and then at Botsang M on all social media handles. And then on WhatsApp, it's 083-884-7787.
It was a fire show, as always, if I do say so myself. Shout out to Botsang Mudimuame Muilwa. You can hear more from him Monday morning just after 8 on In Context on 938. You can stream on 938.co.za if you're not in Johannesburg. Coming to you from Discover TV, let this place be your stage. The incredible, on Heritage Day, Black Motion did a live stream from this very studio to celebrate Heritage Day. So it could be your stage next. Discover TV. Discover with an R at the end, not an ER. Discover TV. Remember that name. We're part of the Africa Podcast Network. You can email waw@africapodcastnetwork.com. Shout out Trevor and his team at Pezulu Works for making us sound and look good. And also Keleso Modisa King, our executive producer. Most importantly, you for watching, for commenting, for interacting and subscribing. Spread the word. Let's grow the movement. Until next week, have a WAW week. In spite of yourselves. We're out of here.